What's going on, guys? Tyler Jager here. I'm here with my partner, Jordan Glickman and Luis Rangel. And I'll let them introduce themselves real quick in a minute. But, Jordan, we've been working together for a little while now. And we want to bring Luis on here and share his story behind how he started his social media marketing agency after quitting a six-figure job and now has been able to take his agency into the high six figures. So if you guys, everyone probably knows Jordan here for the most part. You can always check out his channel. I'll link it. But Luis, if you want to introduce yourself real quick, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Luis Rangel, digital marketer like everybody else on here. I love making other people money, so that's what really interested me about marketing, and I'm glad to be on the show.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. So Jordan, feel free to chime in, if you have anything you want to say or ask or whatever. But we'll kind of start off, like, have you always been kind of entrepreneurial and business minded, or was there really like a turning point in your life that kind of caused it?
So I would say entrepreneurial first versus business. I think a lot of us try to, this and that. But to cut that story short, my grandmother had passed, and it was one of those moments, when you see the whole family and that light bulb clicks. That clicked, I think, the self-awareness. Slowly that started graduating to the entrepreneurial mindset and then the business mindset. The business mindset was like, the meat and potatoes of everything of entrepreneurship. But I think that's where it first started off.
Awesome. So what made you really want to start with your own digital marketing agency? I remember you telling me you quit your six-figure job and everything.
So yeah, I was actually doing drop shipping. I was really successful at that. And a buddy had came to me. He's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing the social media stuff. And I'm a business, entrepreneur guy. And in my head, I was like, man, I can do it better than you. Just the fact that he wanted to do it and I knew I could do it better. Not being, because of his lack of skills. I just think the overall picture, how I saw it and everything. And because he wanted to do it, I did it. And then I just ran with it. And it's been great ever since.
Awesome. So what makes you like passionate about marketing then?
I think
like what do you love the most about it?
Yeah, I'm able to see businesses grow at the same time. Every client that I get, I feel like it's one of my personal businesses. I really dig in deep, do everything possible to make sure that business is successful. But the fact is that I'm able to see that business grow, just like a child. You're seeing that child grow and develop and becoming an adult. The same thing with the business. I'm able to see it and develop. And, of course, I have clients who pay me a large sums of money, but I have small clients, and those small clients touch really close to home because they tell me, hey, Luis, we're probably about 2 months, from being bankrupt, this and that, story after story of, just thank you for bringing in so much customers, so much exposure and everything else. So that's what really, I guess you say, warms my heart at the end of the day. I'm seeing businesses grow and develop, and the fact that me and my agency was able to do it.
Yeah, so you're really like results driven and everything like that.
Correct.
Yeah, I have a question here. So, you'd mentioned outsourcing and stuff like that. How do you maintain quality control and things like that throughout your agency?
So yeah, good question. I have about 17 employees right now. 5 of those are sales employees. The other ones are, different objections there in digital marketing. So I make sure when I first started off, let me explain that first. First started off me, and then my web designer, and then my graphic designer. That was easy to manage. As soon as I started getting to about 5 employees, that's when I started noticing, hey, I need a project manager. So I brought in a project manager and explained the situation and kind of cloned myself, saying, hey, these are my daily duties. This is what I need you to look into. So I found out the magic number is 5. Of course, I'm the CEO and everything else, and I quality control her as well at the same time, making sure I have a good operation overall first before I'm able to scale. Because previously in my drop shipping business, I just wanted to hire whoever. And I had no structure. I didn't have somebody looking over somebody, and that's what failed me. And this way, setting it up, doing depth versus volume, I found that to be very successful. And at the end of the day, it gives me that peace of mind knowing that, hey, I trained somebody to have these set of skills to make sure the operation is successful.
Awesome. So what are your like short or long-term goals for your agency? And also, how long have you been doing it so far? I don't think we met.
Yeah, full-time head on. I would say my agency has been successful for 7 months. I've been in the game for a full year next month already. the beginning of March. That's when I quit my job. But those 3 months, or not really 5 months in the beginning, was really more of finding myself, finding the business, finding what works. So I think those first 5 months was a lot of trial and error. Once I got that out of the way, these 7 months, I've just been replicating the results I've had with other clients and other businesses I'm able to find.
Yeah, I feel like so many people in the mainstream media, like, you know, for example, Tai Lopez or whatever, they put out these programs and like talk about social media marketing, and they kind of make it seem like, oh, you know, it's a very quick way to make money. And don't get me wrong, you can make a lot of money fast, but, you know, it's really long term if you want to build a big business with this and, you know, be patient and consistent with it over time.
I do have Ben and some Adrian and all them friends on Facebook, and I've talked to them, you know, occasionally, and I do recommend. I wish I would have advocated to sow 67 steps first,
Mm-hmm.
and then the social media stuff. I think that's another reason why a lot of these young entrepreneurs are starting out and doing these ventures is that they're not in that right mindset. I just gave them the keys to a Ferrari, but they don't know how to control the Ferrari. I think that's one thing too. If they would have dove in, I always go in there too. When people ask me, "Hey, I'm having these problems," one of the main things I ask them was like, "Hey, have you done the 67 steps?" And the fact that I went through them, but I already knew all that information. But the fact that somebody who's not there yet to really develop that strong foundation, I think that helps somebody more confidence, more sales driven, and really helps them see the big picture overall.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I agree. So what do you really think was your one main thing that really helped you go from, you know, where you were in your agency, like you said, those first 5 months or whatever, to, you know, scaling it up to where it is now, multiple six figures?
I think the beginning too was who the hell is going to trust somebody you've never met, and why am I going to give this guy, you know, 5 to 10 grand a month to do this their job?
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning was a lot of try and error, and that's why I put that video up on the social media group, and it got really good vibes and really good hits on it because it's true. Everybody talks about the value, but at the end of the day, a business owner is only going to invest if it's going to make them more money. And really putting yourself out there and explaining the language of money, really explaining how my services are going to bring you more, you know, this and that, and actually giving me a projected number. Really going down, if really opening up, you know, ad manager, explaining to them, hey, if you give me this much money, this is how much results we can get at the end of the month, versus, you know, just going up to a speech and giving a PowerPoint. I found that through my trial and error, as soon as I got them, you know, within, let's say, if it took me 2 weeks, you know, to get to the gatekeeper and all that stuff, once I had the actual decision maker on the phone, in front of his laptop, showing him the data, as soon as he saw the data, it kind of sold itself. So that's how I really was able to scale it at that 7-month part, you know, after 5 months after the whole try and error.
Because you were able to kind of, you know, build your results and everything during that phase. So what would you kind of recommend for people just getting started with no results? And, you know, what would be the first step, would you say?
Good question, Tyler. I got over maybe 30 messages asking that same question. Mm-hmm. And if you can't get somebody a free month, you should not be in business. You should not be in entrepreneurship. Yes, I know you might have to eat, but at the same time, you are giving up short-term, you know, success for long-term success. Really, there's so many ways to get your money back if you really know how to position yourself. If you offer somebody free 30 days, if you set up your business correctly, you know, LLC and all that, you're able to claim that at the end of the year. So one way or another, you're still going to get your money, you know, regardless for that time, energy, and service. At the same time, it's a really good case study because before I was asking money instead of doing a free trial. After the month, they stayed. When I was able to do the free trial, they were willing to put up more money than I expected because they saw the results and they saw the fact that I actually went out on a limb, provided them free services. And sometimes most of the clients that I get, even now I still do free trials. The reason why, I mean, I'm making money right now, so I'm okay. I'm comfortable. I don't need, you know, that 3,000 extra a month or 5,000 is not going to affect me. But the fact that if I do that free trial, I get a good case study, they trust me. And 9 out of 10 times when I've done a free trial, they're able to refer me to their friends. They're like, hey, man, this guy helped me out. He even did me a free month. And most of the time, they didn't even do the whole free month. Within 2 weeks, most of them, they saw results and they're like, hey, you know, let's go all in. And let me point out real quick, too, making sure very, very clear that you're only offering your management services for free and not the advertising. A sweet number to start off with is at least $500. Just letting them know, hey, I'm offering you like $3,000 to $5,000 services for free. Are you able to, put 500? At the same time, they're gonna get their money back. Uncle Sam, and all that other stuff in their taxes. So, really learning how to leverage yourself as much as possible within the whole, just trying to making sure they sign up, but really finding out what your leverage is.
So since you were talking, about, clients and everything and finding, giving them results and finding the right ones pretty much, how would I pretty much go about finding the right ones? Like being able to identify maybe right off the bat, or, do you have to have a specific conversation, or can you just tell, what a good client is compared to a bad one?
So I think it's two things. Not only it's the niche, it's the business person itself. If it's more of a hobby, or they're the true entrepreneur that you're working with. A couple of things saying back to that. I think I got lucky, honestly, with the surgeon. I wasn't trying to pitch out a surgeon. A surgeon found me. I was really working on my SEO at that time with the guy. He found me. We started working. I was able to get those results. He got the ROI, and then I just replicated it with other surgeons that I found out. In the beginning, I had a lot of clients, but I canceled a lot of clients too because, like I mentioned, they weren't the right entrepreneurial mindset. I worked with some startups, and of course, a lot of startups want results overnight. I found out if businesses, this was like the sweet spot for me. If businesses had been established at least for 5 years, it's easy. It was easy. I'm able to advertise on this and that. If it's a local business, if it's a long business, but I don't think people should really start off with the niche right off the bat. I just say whoever signs up, and gets those services and get those exposures, because then you would know. For example, let's say I found out I'm good with surgeons, but then you found out you're good with attorneys. You use the same system I did, you same system, but it's just everybody's different. I think my DNA and the business's DNA was more towards surgeons, and I just recommend everybody else trial and error, get a client, find out who he is, and see if it works.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. Do you have any more questions, Jordan? I know I have a couple here, but
yeah, I have one or two. Let me see real quick. So just a couple quick ones. How big do you want your agency to be? I know some people in some of the places that we watch have spoke about, Gary Vee, for example, that, is bringing in, X amount of millions and stuff, but only takes home, whether, it's, 10%, 2 million out of the 20 million, and is not bringing home as much as that his agency is making. And thus, his stress and his output of work and stuff is not in close relation to how much he's making and stuff. So, how big do you want your agency to be? Do you have a cap and stuff like that, and whatnot?
Yeah, no, good question. I kind of want to touch a point on that too. I think a lot of people have that problem, but they're not using, how I like to say, like that CEO vision. If the CEO of any business was more driven about him and not the business itself, the business was fail. So I think really Gary Vee is looking at this long term, and Gary Vee doesn't really care about money. He cares more about, and I think that's how every CEO should be. I don't know if you ever read the story about the Costco CEO. The guy pays himself like maybe $300,000, and he pays the rest of the business, and the business has been so successful. The employees get paid a lot higher than, other warehouses do. So I think really having that CEO vision first, it's going to set you up to become either a real business person or an actual hobby. So I think that's one point on that. How big do I want my agency to grow? I don't really have, it's just been really successful in working. My main passion, of course, is helping these businesses grow. I think at the same time as my business is starting to evolve, so am I, as a marketer, really seeing the benefits of marketing. I was an IT person before this. I was an IT director. That's what I did for the 6-figure job. And really seeing this and how much of a difference it can make. My answer today could be completely different, a month from now, 2 years from now, depending on where I'm at. But the fact that I've been seeing myself grow as the same thing as my marketing company grow, I wanted to grow as big as possible. And then finding out, what it works. I don't want to be making $3 million if I'm stressed, this and that. I'd rather make, $700,000, $800,000 and I have the right people wearing the right hats, the right employees, the right structure, that to me is a more successful business than, really burning myself out trying to make 2 to 3 million a year.
Absolutely. And then one more question as well. What would be the top, 3, 5 tools that you'd recommend for entrepreneurs, whether it's social media marketing or just any kind of entrepreneurs that are, within this realm and stuff, whether it's Upwork or things like that, what tools specifically would you recommend?
Or even just resources like people to learn from or something,
No, good question, guys. I really recommend to everybody to really think first about themselves and to really think about what we're doing. We're living in an age of copy and paste. We're not living in an age of, reinventing the wheel. Really finding out who's successful in the game, whether it's marketing, social media, whatever it is, and really learning from them and really seeing what they're doing and replicating it with other people. A quick tip could be if somebody's in the restaurant niche, look up the top restaurant people on Instagram, see what they're doing, do exactly the same thing for that client that you have. Really seeing that first. That's the most important part. The second, of course, keep continuing to grow and as a business person or an entrepreneur. If you're in the social media marketing group or if you're any kind of business, I feel the business is going to die the day that person stops learning. I have a bookcase full of books. I spent $700 last month on books. I really think books have helped me out a lot. But reading the right books. I know same thing with Jordan, Tyler, both of you guys have read books that you're like, what the, makes no sense. Really finding out what books other people else recommended. I mean, if you want to look at marketing books, I have a whole bunch of marketing books, but really finding out what marketing really is. At the end of the day, it's psychology, and learning how, end users work, how the psychology of marketing. I think positioning yourself to learn the psychology of marketing is really going to make you not only a big business owner, you notice it everywhere. Everywhere I'm going, whether it's to the store, whether it's to a restaurant, I'm studying. My mind is reading and recording everything I see. Why is that person touching this? Why is this person buying that product? Seeing the way their store is situated and stuff like that. So back to the question, I really wish somebody would position themselves, look at the psychology of business behind everything, why people do what they do, first of all, because I can give you a hammer, but if you've never learned how to use a hammer or seen somebody do a hammer, nail to the wall, they're never going to understand. But I think tools and resources, start off that first. Whatever niche you're in, find out who's really successful at it and replicate it in your business. Use the same hashtags, what are they doing? What strategies are behind it? For example, I had some surgeons that I worked with, and they're posting on National Nacho Day. Nachos and plastic surgery don't go hand to hand. So really positioning yourself with that client on what their brand represents and making sure you're only doing those types of products and services.
I feel like people who don't really know, they want to get started with social media. We kind of touched on that, but they don't really know how to learn it and stuff. So definitely investing in themselves first is, I feel like, most important, like you said, and also going out there and failing too and seeing what works. But you got to know a little bit of something, so you got to do a little bit of both.
Yeah, and I recommend everybody to make sure they try to finish the program. I'm not getting paid for Thai stuff or anything like that. But really making sure they know enough to go out there. I see a lot of people on there, going, the second session of the whole social media marketing machine, trying to sell yourself. Yeah, you sold them, but how are you going to deliver results now? So not only do you have a client, now you have to watch, 5 hours or 10 hours of content just to get up to date. So really position yourself, know enough information before going out there and selling, because you want to know you can answer any question that they throw at you. So that's another recommendation if they,
Yeah, and like you said, there's tons of books out there on marketing, and there's tons of people on YouTube giving tons of free information, and then there's also more paid information, stuff like that. But you can definitely sort through all the stuff and find what's good, and then you got to test it out, of course, and fail and stuff like that. So other than that, I don't really have much more. I feel like you covered a lot of it, and we got a good insight as to you, your business, your mindset, and everything like that. Do you have anything else that you want to add, Jordan?
No, I think that's it. I mean, you've been extremely helpful to us, and definitely, hopefully, a lot of the other people that are going to end up watching this and stuff as well. Hopefully, have brought them just as much value as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I will. I'll tag his Instagram, Facebook, right? And then I'll add Jordan's too. And if you want to connect with him, reach out, ask him more questions. Feel free. So like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.